What's going on, everybody? It's your favorite dating coach, Elliot Scott, and in this video, I'm going to give you what I believe are the 5 most important things you need to do during the dating stage. Now, the dating stage would be probably the first month or two of whatever you guys have this situationship. So if you do these 5 things, I think he's going to respect you, he's going to see you as a high value woman, and he is going to invest more in you. So with that being said, let's jump right into it. Number 1 is there's a big difference in importance in having an intent versus having a premise. So what does that mean? Essentially, you do not want a guy to know that you want a relationship with him. He needs to know that you want a relationship, but again, not necessarily with him. Because what ends up happening in that situation is you're giving a guy a lot of power. If you take yourself off the market, and women do this all the time. You know, guys will say, oh, let's be exclusive, but not together. Let's only talk to each other. And women will agree to that because they think it's a great deal. But you shouldn't be doing that because he's not your boyfriend. He does not get those benefits. If he wants you, he needs to take himself, or he needs to take you off the market, number 1. Number 2, intent shows, it shows its teeth. It shows how interested you are into someone. And if a guy is taking you for granted, it's probably because you're showing a lot of intent. Now, what is this essentially? If I were to go into an interview, okay, and someone says, Elliot, we really want you. You're exactly what we're looking for. There's no one else like you. You do such a good job at what you do. We have been searching high and low for someone with your capabilities, with your skills, okay? When I go in there, okay, and if what they're saying is true, I have very strong negotiation power. I can go in there and negotiate a really good salary for myself because I know that their intent is to hire me versus them having, interviews and they have a job spot that they want hired or that they want filled with a certain skill set, and I'm just one of many people applying for this job with this skill set. So you need to let a guy know that, yeah, I'm looking for a relationship, and you can be fun, you can be flirty, you can be all these things, but you can't show intent. So you might ask, well, what does that look like? Well, on the screen here, I'm going to kind of show you what up in the higher left, what intent actions look like, and then in the middle is kind of where you want to be, and then at the lower end right here is premise. If you do intent, you got to do some premise type of things, and vice versa. If you do some of these premise actions, you got to do the intent. But to stay safe, you want to be in the middle, okay? So that's number 1. Number 2, have what I call reactionary reciprocity. While I don't think it's bad that a woman initiates first or that a woman asks, to see a guy on the first date, you really want to start off on the right foot and you really want to get a guy to do the initial investment. Now, men love reciprocity. We love reciprocity. We don't like women who are playing hard to get, who think they're supposed to be courted through the entire dating. No. There has to be a give and take. It's just, I hate to say it, women do not like when I say this, but dating is very transactional, okay? And if you want to maintain value, you have to be reactionary, meaning there's nothing wrong with you initiating, there's nothing wrong with you asking for a date, but never do it until he does first. So if he asks you or plans the first and second date, there's nothing wrong with you, and you should actually ask to see him for the third date. If he initiates 90% of the time, maybe you can initiate a little more than 10%. Like you can step it up and whatever. If he takes you out on a date and pays, you should the next day be saying, hey, that was a wonderful date. Thank you so much. You're a gentleman, whatever. Men love that. He has to be getting something out of it. I know that sounds horrible, but that's just what it is. He has to be getting something out of it. A high value woman lets a man invest first and then she shows her appreciation. Number 3, I talk about this a lot. You have to put value on your time and who you're intimate with. So what this essentially means is You don't sleep with a guy just because he's cute, just because you like him. Don't start dating dudes just because you want to see where it goes. No, 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 no. This guy has to consistently invest his resources, time, energy, effort, money into you over time, okay, and be a good communicator, all that kind of stuff, if he wants your time. You're just not going to give it to somebody and ignore the red flags. You're not just going to give it to somebody because you have a like bias or you're justifying their, oh, well, he did come back around, or he could have ghosted me, or he could have done this, so obviously there is some, no. A guy has to, I always tell women, a guy has to pave the road. He has to put the work in. He has to pave this road for you guys to progress. Okay, and again, like I said with the second one, it's not like you're just sitting there letting him, like you're just sitting on a couch and letting him do all the work. No, there's reciprocity. There's a lot of banter, flirtation, quick wit. Again, a lot of this back and forth. But he has to invest in you, ladies, to get multiple dates, to get your time, to get in your pants. A lot of women, for some reason, do not do this, and then they wonder why they're in the situation they're in. A high-value woman puts the most value on her time and who she is intimate with. She just doesn't give it to anybody. Number 4 is knowing when you have power and when you have to give it up. Yes, there are times you have to give it up. No, so let me give you an example of a time or what happens of like not giving it up. So if we kind of like flip the roles, and let's say you're talking to a dude and you really like him and you slept with him, but he's pulling back, taking you for granted, not reaching out, not acting like he used to. How do you feel? You're probably upset. You're probably pissed. You're probably in your head. You're probably worrying. It does not look good. Why? Because this is a situation where you gave up power, okay, and he's holding on to it for too long. There has to be reciprocity. He has to give it back up, meaning he has to, court you. He has to, treat you well, even though after he got it. A lot of people don't do this. So again, another example of this would be in the beginning, if you're like courting a guy and you're making him wait 6 months for sex. Ladies, that's not going to happen. That's not a thing. I'm sorry. A lot of you, I see people in the comments all the time, this is why you don't sleep with a man until you're in a relationship. This is why you don't sleep with a man until you're married. No, that's not a thing, ladies. That doesn't happen. Not in the, I mean, maybe if you, I don't know if you grow up watching like VeggieTales or something, but if you are in modern dating, okay, that's not a thing. You have to give it to men who deserve it, okay, but there has to be an exchange. You cannot hold on to power too long. If you think a man's going to wait 6 months to get in your pants, right, that he might, but he's talking to other women, he's effing other women in the meantime, and vice versa. You should not stick around for men who are not willing to invest in you, who are not willing to take you out, initiate, court you, all that kind of stuff before, during, and not during, but after sex. There has to be an exchange in power. And again, I'll put this up on the screen so you know where you have most power and stuff like that. But I also want to touch on something really fast that I think is really important, which is, in these areas that you have the most power, you get the most value when you try to get the most out of it. So, for example, if you're in the courtship stage, you need to let a guy court you. This is where you have power. He's trying to get in your pants, okay? This is where you need to let a guy take you out. This is where you need to test a guy. This is where he needs to, step up and show up and prove himself. He needs to take you out. He needs to invest his resources. He needs to be a good communicator. He needs to be on the same page as you. He needs to be consistent. He needs, take you on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dates before you even sleep with the guy. But what ends up happening is a lot of women, they'll come to me and we'll be talking on the phone, like clients, and they slept with the guy on the second date, and then they wonder why things are the way they are. I'm like, well, because it's like you sold a brand new car for half the price you could have got it for. Of course someone's going to take that deal, and of course someone's going to take advantage of it. They don't care that you got robbed, half the money. They don't give a shit. Dating is no different. If you're going to give a guy the goods early on, well, then guess who's going to pay the cost? It's not him, it's you. So you have to make a guy work for it during the stages on which you have power. And by the way, ladies, if you are liking everything I am saying, please check out my guides below. There's 6 guides. It's a bundle. I put them at a discount so all you can get them because I think the information is very, 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 very important. It's all my teaching methods, my philosophies, again, jammed into these six PDFs that you guys, I think, will greatly benefit from and master male psychology, modern dating, what guys want, what guys are looking for, what makes guys commit, so on and so forth. Link is down below. And lastly, never agree to what I call a weak contract. So what is a weak contract? An example of it would be if you're talking to a dude and he says, well, I'm not really looking for anything serious, but if the right woman comes along, yeah, sure, I'll commit. Of course I will. I'm open to a relationship. No. F that contract. F that contract. You ain't signing up for that. You only need to sign up for guys who say, I'm looking for something serious. I'm looking to settle down. I want a girlfriend, right? I'm looking for a relationship. That's what you want. Anything other than that, it's going to hurt you. None of this, let's see where it goes. Let's see what happens. I'm not sure what I want, but I'm open to a relationship if the right girl comes along. No. Let me give you a great example of this. I had a client the other day who was dating a guy, and she asked the guy in the very beginning what he's looking for. And the guy said something like, I'm casually dating to not date so casual anymore, or something like that. And I'm like, what the, oh, dude, just say you're looking for something serious or you're not. That was a huge red flag. And I even told her before she finished the story, I was like, I already know how this is going to end, yada, yada, yada. And I was right. 2 months in, the guy was treating her well, but 2 months in, what happened? The guy came to her place and said, hey, I think we're on different pages. I think we want something different. I think you want something a little more than I want. And I'm like, well, yeah, no shit. Like, if a guy's going to have that was, like she said, that was in his back pocket. He pulled that was a script. And I'm like, 100% it was. Like, you don't say that. That's such a cop-out. She agreed to a weak contract, okay? And again, a woman's value, like I said, I'm looking over here. Was it number 3? Like I said number 3, your value is in your time. You do not give your time to someone who wants to see where it goes or who's casually dating until he's not casually dating, like, or whatever the hell he's like. No, your value is in your time. You give it to men who are on the same page as you. Never agree to a weak contract. Never agree to, let's see where it goes. Never agree to, friends of benefits and hoping things are going to change later on down. No, that is not a thing, ladies. You lower your value. So never agree to, another good one, I said it earlier, like exclusivity. Like, we're not together, but let's only talk to each other. Again, of course, women are going to eat that shit up. But never take yourself off the market for a guy who's not your boyfriend. Ladies, stop doing that. I don't know why women do that all the time. Okay? So that being said, ladies, if you do these 5 things, you are going to be a queen. You're going to be high value, and men are going to respect you. Okay? Just do these 5 things. With that being said, I love you all. Take care, and peace.